I recently had the pleasure of talking to Gregory Porter, one of the most acclaimed jazz soul vocalists in contemporary music. We chatted about his upcoming October tour of Australia, in which he's bringing his five-piece band. We chatted about his career, his gig preparation, which was interesting, and the element of protest in his music. Anyway, here's our chat with Gregory Porter.
All right. Hello. How are you?
Good, you can hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. I actually missed that BB King's Blues Club. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I used to enjoy it when I went to New York.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was actually the building was instrumental in the start of my career, actually.
All right. In what way?
Yeah, they had a vocal competition, a jazz. It's called the Jazzmobile Vocal Competition, and I had been doing well, just like little small clubs, having a couple of gigs a week. But being in the competition, which they held at the BB King's Blues Club, um, it gave me I think it's where I met my manager and a lot of the booking agents around
Oh,
New York City saw me and they were like, oh, okay, there's something there. So
yeah,
yeah, really, really helpful that place. So I
yeah.
did a lot of stuff there. I loved even the food. So there you go. It brings me back to the ribs.
I was going to give you an introduction, but we're already having an interesting conversation. Well, whereabouts in the world are you at the moment?
I'm in London. I have I had I was on tour. I had a little work to do, and then I'm here with my family. So I'm just hanging out for 4 or 5 days before I go back to the States, and then back to Europe, and then all over. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're back in Australia for a series of concerts in October. What are your memories of your last visit here? Did we have good ribs?
I I had a lot of good food in Australia, that's for sure. Um, I won't say that it was ribs, but I had never had, real meat before, and so that was an adventure. Um, I, I had an extraordinary time. It's part of the dream, the ongoing dream that has been part of my career of finding the place where my voice belongs. Um, I used to imagine it as a child, just wondering where my place was. And even when I started my career, I was like, if I planted the seed of my voice, where would it grow? In what lands? In what places? And so it's so interesting to find out, yeah, okay, in Japan, wow, I've cultivated in Australia, in Africa, and so, these places all over the world. So it's just particularly Australia. I'm like, you know, down under, out back, way out, you know, the idea that I belong there as well is like, it's heartwarming and I appreciate it. And I'm thankful and look forward to coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that audiences differ much from country to country?
Yeah, quite frankly, yes. I think obviously the homegrown crowd, the American crowd, they have there's a particular back and forth. You can get on stage and mention something about food culture, and they understand you. Collard greens and cornbread, and you're automatically there. But I've been traveling so much, and I'm so fascinated by culture that I have something to talk about with everybody's culture. Whether it be roommate or the pub or different sayings or or even the cliches or even backwards stereotypes that we have about each other. I love approaching that in a comical way when I'm on stage. Why not? Why not? We're human beings. Yeah.
So, how do you approach your set list? Do you mix it up from night to night? At what point do you create a set list, or do you even create a set list?
I don't create a set list. That's just kind of I'm kind of DJing based on how I feel. there's some set points that I want to say. I have, I think I feel like a messenger sometimes, as less than a entertainer. Yes, I'm there to entertain, and some people are entertained, but some people feel something deeply within themselves, and it's a shared experience. So saying something about love, the optimism about love, those songs that I have, that has to be in my set every night, no matter what. Um, Something about equality is going to be in the set. Um, and as well as mixing it up in terms of genre, stylistically, something more soulful, something that has a gospel edge, something that's uplifting and that's that somehow can be described as something more towards a pop thing, and just my straight up swinging jazz. So I love to travel throughout genres, but squarely and firmly feeling like and delivering things as a jazz singer,
Yeah.
and in that tradition, but borrowing from what I call the diaspora of Black American music. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any pre-concert rituals or even superstitions?
This is so funny. Um, I try to stay in the bath, a bubble bath, as long as I can, right up until I get to the stage. So sometimes there's a soapy residue around my neck when I come to the stage. You think I'm joking, but it is true. I try to just take that relaxed energy to the stage. I love joking with the guys before we go out. I'm not a person, sometimes I have to tell promoters, it's people that are like, okay, get to the stage now, stand by the stage and be ready. That's not my thing. It's like, I don't come to the shows late, but it has to be an easy flow from the dressing room to the stage. This comfort, this idea that we are doing something, to make people feel good. This is a job, but uh, it's not, I'm not punching a time clock. This is like trying to give a bit of beauty. And so you do these things subconsciously in your head, you know, that it's not a job, but it is.
Yeah.
I don't have to be on time, but I do have to be, you know.
You're coming down with a fantastic band, Chip Crawford on piano, Emmanuel Harrell on drums, Tivan Pennicott on sax, and Jamal Nichols on bass. What qualities do you look for in the musicians that you have in your band?
This empathy and the idea to understand where it is I'm coming from and what it is I'm saying. If I sing a song like Take Me to the Alley that is about uplifting the people that are on the underneath, the people that are laying on the ground, the hungry ones, the lonely ones, the immigrant, the poor, whoever it is, there's a style and a feeling and a conversation that the drums have, the sax solo, the piano solo. It's less performance and more understanding. And so, yeah, they've over the years we've cultivated that, and they understand when I'm being romantic, when they understand the difference between the loves that I speak of, romantic love and this more neutral human love. Uh, yeah, it's just part of being a musician and a musical communicator, and they care about these things the way that I do. And so, yeah,
Yeah. When did you start appreciating vocal stylings as opposed to just certain voices that you liked?
I think this is the reason, the very reason why jazz spoke to me so much. The level of freedom, first, the freedom in which the subject matter that you could sing about, talk about, but the different styles of voices that are under this umbrella, from Louis Armstrong to Abbey Lincoln to Billie Holiday to Al Jarreau to you know it could go on and on. These extraordinary, charismatic voices that are all different, and it's just such a fascinating cornucopia of these these musical peacocks. And this is the thing that struck me. I was like, wow. And generally, the jazz voice is less adorned with electronics, and so there's a humanity there that is intriguing to me. And I mean, if we could, those the male bass singers like you know, geez, Lou Rawls or Arthur Prysock, just all of these fantastic
Yeah,
musical characters, and it was just so attractive to me. It still is.
yeah. So when you're listening to music for pure enjoyment at home or in the car, what are the albums you keep coming back to?
Um, I just always kind of when I'm driving, I always just scream at Siri to, "Hey Siri, play Leon Thomas." There's a certain feeling that I want to hear. I I listen to all different types of music. I love driving, and so I'm listening to classical music and solo guitar, but a lot of vocal music. But I'm trying to find, spend my time to listen to a lot of the younger new singers that are coming. Um, and so I spend a little time doing that. But sometimes, particularly when I'm about to go into the studio, I do a lot of listening of myself. Um, and that's I've been doing that a lot to reignite my voice and my particularly songs that I haven't performed on stage in a long time. Just my approach, this is my the way that I phrase and connect words in the poetry. So yeah, remembering what the spark and the purpose of certain songs that I've written. I like to go back to that space and time and think about what do I care about now? What am I thinking about now? Uh, uh, the thing that I cared about then, how has that changed? Or has the needle moved at all? Or, am I still optimistic? So I think I like doing that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of songwriting, in general, what's the starting point for a Gregory Porter composition?
This the moment that a piece of phrase or a sentence or something that a friend says or something that comes to your head um, sparks an energy you know uh, maybe you're hugging a friend and they'll say, who knows if this is the last time we say goodbye. Oh, give me that. Even though there is a sadness of what you just said, let me have this because who knows, this may be the last time we say goodbye. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
You know, and when I hear that phrase, it almost has a melody to me already.
yeah.
Feels like the end of a song. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you the kind of songwriter who has bits and pieces of ideas archived, or do you discard them if they're not working?
No, they're on a piece of paper, they're on my phone, they're on the computer. And so during the songwriting compilation time. There's bits of paper, there's old phones and new phones, and there's the computer, and there's just trying to get it all together. And sometimes there'll be one song that you've been working on, and it's on three different items, three different phones, plus a piece of paper. And so, there's something magical that I like also about that, the chaos of that, because the bridge from another song may work better in, the current song that you're working on. So I like to think that there is some magic to these words coming together and feeling good, at least to me, whether the world enjoys it or not. Yeah, I like to think that there's some magic in putting these things together. But many times, just a song, a composition will come to me fully formed, and we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know when a song is finished and to leave it alone?
Well, when it feels good, um, even if you only have the chorus, or even if you just have the structure, I tend to, when it feels good, I tend to leave it alone to not overwork it, because I want the intensity of the juices of the recording process to work its magic to finally put something together. There are people who work differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes I even, really pester over a song. But sometimes if you let it flow in the path of least resistance, and just go with your pen and go with the idea into the studio, something can happen, and it can work.
Yeah. A lot of people have remixed your music. Liquid Spirit is a great example where I think there are 5 remixes on Spotify. Are you surprised by the results?
Um, yes, surprised by the end result, quite frankly. Yes, sometimes they go really big, and the Clapton remix is something. It kind of helps to pay the mortgage in a nice way. But people think that I'm like vexed by that. Sometimes I have some involvement in the remix, but I'm not vexed, because I guess I'm a jazz singer, and I love, that expression, but I also love to dance, and also message is more important to me than anything. I'm speaking about Liquid Spirit is about love. So if it finds its way to Ibiza, and young people are dancing to it, thousands of young people are dancing to it. If it's the number one song in Ibiza for the summer that it came out, and these people are singing about love, dancing to the idea of letting love flow, then yeah, then I'm so cool with that. And it's been also another way of bringing people into, my normal, compass of my normal world. And so, they'll come to my concerts. They're not going to hear, you know, but they're going to get still the energy of a Liquid Spirit, or whatever song has been remixed.
Yeah.
I like to hear what people do with my voice as well. So yeah, it's cool.
There is some protest in a lot of your music, and each day there seems to be more need to protest. Do you think that the message is getting harder to cut through? And more importantly, is it harder to make a difference with music?
Uh, they will attempt to make the musician trivial and small. There's been some attempt at that, even with somebody in the music industry that we call the boss. You can try to trivialize the voice, sometimes, that speaks for many. Um, but we realize over time that music has told the story of us, whether it be um, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, or Marvin Gaye, uh, or even we can go to the best of hip hop. It tells the story of who we are, our desires, our aspirations. Um, Sometimes the reporter on the street, and I think the music uh, can't be dismissed. It's as powerful as the pen of any journalist, any writer. Uh, the music should be considered as well. And so the protest song, which exists in every genre, but is a pillar uh, of the best of jazz by way of Nina Simone, uh, Leon Thomas. For me, really foundational people in the music. Even Louis Armstrong, it was always in the music. It was always this subtle, sometimes even, you know, uh, passive aggressive in a way, undercurrent of, what did I do to be so black and blue? It was always there. So the protest song is enormously important. And it should always continue to be in the music. And generally, it's what I like about jazz. Generally, it's pushing towards the mark of a freer, fairer, um, equal, kinder, soulful society and people. That's what I'm about. Yeah.
Um, some of the venues that you're playing in Australia are acoustically superb. They were built for sound, such as the Sydney Opera House and Hamer Hall in Melbourne. Do the acoustic properties of a venue make a difference to your performance?
They do. Quite frankly, the acoustics, the tradition of the music that has been in a particular place, um, uh, the history of the Sydney Opera House, all of these things, have a degree of elevating the performance. I like to say that I sang well and maybe even sang better when I was, being paid $30 and being ignored in the corner of some of the restaurants when I was in New York and then California. Um, but the setting, the platform, the attention, uh, the quality of space can elevate the performance internally, inside of the artist, to be in these spaces and have, just the fact of having respect for these places can elevate your performance. Believe it or not, right or wrong, this is true.
Yeah. After the Australian tour, you have a gap, I think, of a few months before you perform again. Will there be any new recording happening, or you're taking a break?
There is some recording. The gap, my wife always says that there's nothing in there. It's like, honey, you think there's nothing there, but in the hands of agents and my manager, it can fill up just like that. So it won't be much time. But yeah, I'm going into the studio at the end of the year, beginning of the year as well. As to when the record is released, I don't know when that will be because that's ultimately up to record label. But yeah,
Yeah, and I believe Stevie Wonder has written a song for you.
we're working on getting that in my hands. He actually sang it to me one time on stage in front of an audience. I was like, "Are we supposed to be doing this in a writing room?" But he was like, "Let me teach you the song I wrote for you." So it's pretty amazing, but that did happen. But yeah, yeah, he has written a song, and hopefully I'm gonna get it together for the next record. Yeah.
Yeah. One last question, I'll let you go. What are you most proud of in your music career?
The fact that I didn't have to really compromise who I am. I think I've, you speak of a song like Liquid Spirit. It's the condensed, uh, in a way, uh, distilled version of my mother's messages to me about love. Uh, and the fact that that could be a super popular song, the idea that she lives in my music, even though she left this earth a long time ago, she's still there. And people want to play it and they want to dance to it. And I was like, there she is dancing. And so it's cool. It's cool. That's the thing I'm most proud of, that I could take bits of me and put it into the poetry and the melody, and it lives. Um, that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, Gregory, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and we look forward to seeing you in Australia in October.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Thank you. And thank you for wearing that sweatshirt. Great memory.
Thanks, Matt. All the best.
All right.